Ласково просимо до Молтенка, що говорить привіт моїм друзям та моя сім'я. Today we're going to be talking about magic wands, a must for any witch to put on his or her altar. They're beautiful. They have a lot of energy. Usually they're made from something that was alive. And I find that they are beautiful, and you can find any one that suits your personality and your needs on the market if you don't make one yourself, which I recommend. This one was homemade. But first, I wanted to know the significance of a wand in ancient Ukraine. So for anybody practicing Slavic magic or has Ukrainian heritage, what you may want to know first is that wands were not necessarily used, but staves were. So back in the day, somebody who was an elder usually had a staff, and if they needed help walking, it was a physical aid. And if they went into an event or a meeting and tapped the ground with it, it would signify that they wanted to speak. Now, over the years, eventually the staff became a smaller version. So a lot of witches, instead of just putting a big staff on the altar, would just have something smaller. But many cultures had the same kind of concept. Vikings, for example, same thing. It would be more like a signal of I'm speaking, or they want order and decorum in a meeting. My husband, who's indigenous, they still use a talking stick, it's called, whenever they have ceremonies or have meetings. There's an old 1974 Disney film called Island at the Top of the World, where these elders are discussing what they're going to do with these captured prisoners, and they're tapping the ground with their staves and making a point. And that's something to know, is that it has masculine energy. That's not to say that women can't use them, but usually, well, just because of what it is, most of the qualities that are present with a wand are masculine qualities, power, protection, leadership, that sort of thing. The wood itself has different magical qualities. So this one here is made of red cedar, which really isn't cedar at all. It's actually part of the cypress tree family. And the magical properties in this wood, which is native to the region that I live in, is for protection, healing, good luck, spirituality. As a secular witch, I have other uses for a wand like this, rather than using it for spell crafting. Just holding it, having it around makes me happy. So in and of itself, it's doing its job as far as I'm concerned. But for witches that want to do spell crafting, usually they're directing energy. So they're pointing it this way and that way to direct what they want to do, or just holding it when they're performing a spell. So it's very personal. I know there's books written about the subject, and I could go on. But mainly my husband helped make this one. It is about 16 inches long, and because look at the end. I mean, it's hard to say exactly how long it is, but so I wanted it to be larger than the average wand. Not that size matters, but it sort of does, because I know that if you want to go further into the past, wands were really not delicate little twigs. They were actually a lot larger. So thinking of how they've come from staff to what it is now, I know on the market you can get crystal wands, pewter wands, decorated with crystal. People who make them themselves can put dried flowers or herbs to, put more magical properties wind it with copper or something natural. Maybe put a leather tie on the handle. But this one here was turned at home here. My husband has a shop, so he turned this one for me. I told him exactly what I wanted. To me, less is more. I like a simplistic design. So he did what he could on there, but he did a beautiful job just doing what I had asked him to do. And then when I took it back into the house, I oiled it with heated olive oil, and it gave it a very pretty color. And I just basically brushed it on the entire wand and let it dry. And I will do that about once a year to keep it fresh, because no matter if you live in a dry climate or a wet climate, you don't want any cracking. So water can create rot. Water is drying. In any kind of dry climate, you don't want any cracking. So you want to look after the wood. It's very pretty and it smells great. It looks great. When it's on my altar, it makes me happy. So like I say, even if I don't use it for any kind of spell crafting, just having it there is serving its purpose. So I hope that helps with any questions that you may have about whether or not wands were prevalent in Ukraine a long, long time ago, and what you do with a wand when you're doing any kind of spell crafting. I know I can't really help in that regard, but just having the wand I think is important. Have it with your other tools. Just, research the wood that you have or the region that you live in to see what kind of energy that your local trees and bushes have, because they're all different and they're wonderful. So good luck in obtaining your own magic wand. I pamiętaj, zробити щось приємне для себе сьогодні, which means, and remember, do something nice for yourself today.